Hey everyone, today we're going to be exploring one of the most famous buildings in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in all of New York City that just so happens to sit north of New York City's Billionaires Row. This is a view from Central Park, looking up at the Steinway Tower, 157, as well as Central Park Tower. But the building in question for today's video is the Sherry Netherland, or the Sherry Netherland Hotel. We're going to be checking out a full floor unit in the building, all the way up on the 17th floor, that's listed for $20 million. But first, we're going to do a little bit of a walking tour around the neighborhood, talk about the historical significance of the hotel, who was the architect, who was the developer, and even a sneak peek at one of my favorite Wall Street stories of all time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started as we explore the Sherry Netherland in New York City. So the Sherry Netherland was built between 1926 and 1927. It actually replaced the original Hotel New Netherlands that had stood on that site since 1893. There was a funny story that you could look up through some of the New York City archives and some of the news media archives. During construction of the Sherry Netherland in 1927, there was a massive fire that broke out, and you had flames that were visible all the way from Long Island, New York. And this kicked off a massive debate about the potential dangers of new skyscraper buildings in New York City, particularly with the new technology of modern elevators. Now, the Sherry Netherland, when it opened, at the time, it was the tallest apartment hotel in New York, soaring 560 feet, or about 171 meters into the beautiful New York City skyline. And to think about a stat like that really just goes to show how much New York City has grown. At the time, Sherry Netherland being the tallest apartment hotel at 560 feet, I mean, now we're looking at Central Park Tower, which is the tallest building on New York City's Billionaires Row. That's 1,550 feet tall. So, from the 1920s, the Roaring 20s, and then through the stock market crash, all the way up till today, the advancements in technology and construction and really architecture is kind of quite mesmerizing. Now, the outside was designed in a magnificent neo-Romanesque, or what I like to call neo-Gothic style, by the renowned architectural team at Schultz & Weaver. They also had a partnership with Buchman and Kahn. Many of you might be familiar with those architects from our walking tours talking about the Waldorf Astoria, because they were also on that project. Now, as you know, the beautiful Waldorf Astoria, which is located on New York City's Park Avenue, just opened from a multi-year renovation. You have the ability to purchase condominiums now in the Waldorf Astoria, but not only that, they've maintained the original Art Deco significance of the facade and the interior of that building. In any event, if we kind of move on here as we make our way through the corner of Central Park and we make this exit on the corner of 59th Street and 5th, you'll be able to see that beautiful facade of the Sherry Netherland that sits right next to what is now the General Motors building, as well as the flagship Apple store on 5th Avenue. And then we'll talk about the developer of the Sherry Netherland in just a minute. If you're thinking about staying at the Sherry Netherland, room rates generally tend to run anywhere between $900 per night all the way up to about $3,000 per night, depending on which one of the suites you get. But there's only about 15 hotel rooms in the entire building that is quite massive, which we'll see in a minute. And we are also adjacent to the famous Plaza Hotel. Now check it out, everybody. We're now looking at the main front entrance to the Sherry Netherland at 781 5th Avenue. Unfortunately, the top portion of the building is covered in scaffolding. But this project was developed under the guidance of Louis Sherry, a subsidiary of Boomer DuPont Properties Corporation. Lucas Boomer, the operator, was already famous for his work with the Waldorf Astoria, while the Sherry name came from the legendary restaurateur and confectioner Louis Sherry. Now, unfortunately, he passed away before the completion of the building, so he never really got his famed credit for the contributions of his work. But today, the Sherry Netherland operates as a co-op, or a cooperative, which is very different from a condominium, which we've talked about. Why? If you own in a co-op in New York City, you're not purchasing property rights. What you're purchasing are shares in a corporation. So it's a little bit different. In any event, it has 165 apartments, which underwent that cooperative conversion in 1954. If you want to stay at the hotel, there's about 50 guest room suites, varying in price depending on which views that you get. Central Park views are obviously going to be a little bit more. Fifth Avenue views are obviously going to be a little bit more. If you want the cheaper rooms, you're probably going to have to opt with the rooms that overlook the east side of Manhattan. Now, another one of my favorite stories about the Sherry Netherland, my personal favorite story, has to do with the legendary stock trader known as Jesse Livermore. Now, Jesse Livermore frequented this area multiple times, not only at the Sherry Netherland, but also the Crown Building, which we're going to go to first on our walking tour today. But Jesse Livermore was known as the Boy Plunger, and he was one of America's most famous stock traders. He spent his final years frequently visiting the Sherry Netherland Hotel right here in Manhattan, where he was a regular at the cocktail bar. One of my favorite trades of all time in Wall Street history was put on by Jesse Livermore. He made $100 million in 1929 by shorting the market during the 1929 stock market crash. Here you see the Sherry Netherland logo on the sidewalk here. And you have the main awning of the Sherry Netherland right here, as well as that iconic Sherry Netherland clock. We'll quickly zoom up on it. But Jesse Livermore, unfortunately, and now it is November 1st, but on November 28th, 1940, Jesse Livermore visited the cocktail bar at the Sherry Netherland for the last and final time. Rumor has it is that he ordered a drink at the cocktail bar, and as he was enjoying his cocktail, he crafted a suicide note to his wife. His wife Harriet, but he called his wife Nina. Once he finished that drink, that cocktail, at the cocktail bar at the Sherry Netherland Hotel, he then proceeded to go into the cloakroom, where rumor has it that he killed himself with a Colt automatic pistol. Now, there are some conspiracies around that potential suicide of Jesse Livermore. It is rumored that maybe the mafia had something to do with that quote-unquote suicide, but that is neither here nor there, or really up for speculation. But when the NYPD arrived at the crime scene, that is when they discovered an 8-page handwritten suicide note that was addressed to his wife, essentially apologizing for his feeling of failure. Oftentimes, I talk about Jesse Livermore because if you are familiar or you're a part of the money management business or the hedge fund business in New York, chances are you've been recommended to read Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, or you've probably had a boss recommend it, particularly if you've ever worked at one of those Tiger Cub hedge funds or for a major global macro hedge fund manager. It's rumored that, well, not rumored, one of the greatest hedge fund managers of all time, Paul Tudor Jones, often says that to all of his incoming analysts at the firm, he requires them to read Reminiscences of a Stock Operator based on the life of Jesse Livermore before they can start their first day at the firm. But in any event, I wanted to take you down to 57th Street because before we enter the Sherry Netherland, where Jesse Livermore would frequent, he also had an office in this building right here, which is the Crown Building, which is now the Aman, New York, which is one of the most luxurious and expensive hotels in not only New York City, but the entire world. I'm really excited about taking you all inside because as I was digging a little bit deeper and I was doing some deep research because I knew I was going to be filming this video, the rumor has it that Jesse Livermore did indeed rent out full floor apartments at the Sherry Netherland. And from some documents that I've acquired through some sources on Wall Street that have been in the business through generations, through families and families of generations, it is rumored that one of the exact apartments Jesse Livermore used to pied-à-terre at is the exact apartment in which we are going to be exploring today. The full floor apartment on the 17th floor of the Sherry Netherland Hotel, which is actually 4 separate individual units that the new prospective buyer will be combining into one unit and making what I would like to call a mansion or a penthouse in the sky at the Sherry Netherland. In any event, now we're on the corner of 57th Street and 5th, looking at the main entrance to the Crown Building. And I want to take you to the main entrance of the Aman, New York, just so you can kind of understand the neighborhood a little bit better of Billionaires Row and kind of visualize the exact footsteps of where Jesse Livermore used to frequent. By the way, we're now headed westbound towards 6th Avenue. And here we are. This is the main entrance of the Aman, which is a really, really stunning property. You also have the ability to purchase condos, Aman branded condos in this building as well. And this is the exact building where Jesse Livermore also had an office.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah. I was supposed to have lunch with several times. We both canceled.
We're now going to head back to the Sherry Netherland, and to preface the tour, I'll tell you a little bit about the apartment. The list price is a cool $20 million, and the entire listing has 24 rooms, 6 bedrooms, and over 10 bathrooms. As I've said before, it's actually 4 individual apartments that the current owner was going to combine all of the units to make an unbelievable mansion in the sky. They just never got around to doing it. So if you're watching this video and you've always dreamed of owning a crown jewel at the Sherry Netherland on the same exact floor that Jesse Livermore used to rent out, this is your opportunity to do so. The carrying costs, including all the maintenance and the taxes on the full 17th floor of the Sherry Netherland, is roughly $120,000 per month. but you definitely can't get a better location than this. On the corner of 57th Street and 5th, you have the brand new Tiffany building, which LVMH Moet Hennessy put roughly $500 million into this renovation. Of course, Bernard Arnault's company acquired Tiffany, so it is all under the same umbrella. And here you have the famous Bergdorf Goodman, which, by the way, if you're interested in checking out one of the most stunning holiday Christmas displays in the city, I would venture inside Bergdorf and go up to the 7th floor. And on the 7th floor, you're going to find the home decor department, and you'll see some of the most stunning Christmas decorations that you'll ever see in your life. Now, perfectly framed in the center of this shot is that beautiful Sherry Netherland Hotel. And I'm glad it's managed to hold on strong amongst the massive push for redevelopment in Midtown Manhattan. Another plus is that you're getting a brand new Grand Army Plaza that is set to be completed in just 2 months at the end of December 2025. And just off to the left, of course, you have that iconic Plaza Hotel, which was also done by the same exact architect that is responsible for the Dakota Apartments, which sits on 72nd Street in Central Park West. Okay, now we're back on the corner of East 59th Street, where we're now going to be entering the lobby of the storied Sherry Netherland Hotel and checking out a 6-bedroom, 10-plus bathroom, full-floor apartment at the Sherry Netherland. You're going to see some of the original door handles since the hotel's inception. That beautiful storied elevator bank you're going to see right as we exit the foyer. And when you're walking through the apartment, I want you to use your imagination. I want you to use your imagination on what you would do, creating your own penthouse in the sky at Sherry Netherland. I'll post the floor plans on the screen and I'll link them in the description of this video so you can get a better idea on just how well you would structure your own apartment right here at the iconic Sherry Netherland. And perhaps even use a little bit more of your imagination as you picture the legendary stock trader Jesse Livermore having a drink at the cocktail bar in the lobby of the Sherry Netherland, as well as renting out the entire 17th floor of the building. So without further ado, let's go ahead and head inside. Now here's a quick peek in the lobby. Now before it was renovated, in the back, I would say southernmost section, was the cloakroom, where you famously had Jesse Livermore pass away on Thanksgiving night. Turning to the right are the main elevator banks. And a cool feature about the elevators is you have a staff member riding with you in each elevator bank. connecting to both the residences and the hotel. Just the most stunning thing about it is all the paintings on the ceilings that have been restored since 1929. And you also have a gym in the back. Really beautiful. All right, everyone, here we are. We are inside of the beautiful Sherry Netherland, and we're going to be exploring the entire 17th floor that is on the market for sale for just under $20 million. Now, it's the entire full floor, but there's actually four separate apartments that make up the entire 17th floor. So the prospective buyer of this unit has the opportunity to combine each and every single unit into one masterpiece mansion in the sky at the famous Sherry Netherland Hotel. Now, I'm going to put the floor plans up for everybody, but you'll have to use your imagination because this is a complete blank canvas. We're going to be starting off on the northmost western side of the building, and this is probably my favorite individual unit on the floor because you have unmatched and unrivaled Central Park views. We could see all the way to the Upper West Side of Manhattan. You're looking at the San Remo, the Beresford, overlooking all of Central Park. And here you have views of Central Park South. You could see the reservoir looking down at the Plaza Hotel and all of New York City's Billionaires Row. Now, if you've been watching Walks on Wall Street for quite some time, you'll know that I always talk about the Sherry Netherland Hotel because stock trader Jesse Livermore in the 1920s used to rent out entire floors of this building that we're in right now and use it as his primary residence when he would be in New York City. Now, on Thanksgiving Day, he unfortunately died by suicide right here in the cloakroom of the Sherry Netherland Hotel, and oftentimes big hedge fund titans will specifically stay right here at the Sherry Netherland to pay tribute to Jesse Livermore. It's really, really stunning views here. And again, you're going to see a lot of variety, let's just say, as it relates to the interiors of these individual units. I'll put the floor plans up on the video so you can see, but this is meant for the buyer to combine each individual unit to make a tremendous mansion in the sky. And of course you have all of those original Sherry Netherland fixtures and finishes. These are the original doorknobs to the hotel. So this is classic New York City 1929 style luxury living. This is the main elevator bank again. This is the main landing foyer. So you'd probably want to keep this. I would make this a really wide open, tremendous space. We're now going to see apartment number 2, which is 1704. And look at that. Really nice chandelier. You'd probably also want to gut this and connect it to the other unit. But as I've mentioned before, you have the original doorknobs, the door handles. This is probably what I would make my in-home library. You have all the wood paneling on the walls here. And then again, as you get closer to that window, you have really, really stunning unobstructed Central Park frontage. Plaza Hotel overlooking all of Central Park and Fifth Avenue. This is one of the most unique listings I've ever been in because this listing is to be totally customizable. Here's one of the bathrooms. And then again, those Central Park views. And now that it is autumn, you could even see the leaves changing color. It just looks spectacular. And then here's yet again another bathroom. Obviously, this is not lived in. The owner purchased every single unit on this floor in hopes to do a major project to make a dream mansion in the sky. But they've just never got around to it. So perhaps, if you've always wanted the opportunity to live in the Sherry Netherland, now is the opportunity. And again, this is the main foyer. Good to see you.
Good.
And this is the main living room with the Central Park frontage. So this would be the main living room area. That beautiful chandelier. And again, more exposures of the Plaza Hotel. Just a very, very unique layout here. If this were mine, I would probably make an oversized in-home library and almost show it off as a collective or a collection. This is going to be the brand new Grand Army Plaza South that sits right outside the Plaza Hotel. And you have direct views looking down Fifth Avenue. That is the Aman, New York, and 53 West 53rd Street. And once this scaffolding is down, you'll be able to see inside of the Apple Store. So remember, the first two units are facing westbound. It's really as if you're taking a walk back in time. And here you have the kitchen space. Kitchen's actually updated. But again, you'd probably want to make this your own. And this is personally my favorite room in the apartment because if I were to build out an in-home library, I would use this exact custom built-in wood paneling. I really, really like that dark, rich cherry color. And again, from the library, overlooking Fifth Avenue. I mean, you could really, see yourself putting a really nice work desk here, having all the books, and I'd even put a ladder so you could access some of the books on the higher shelving, but a very, very unique place. This is my favorite room out of all of it, right off the kitchen. And then this loops around back outside. Now, if you want to talk about some of the carrying costs, this is a cooperative building, and the building is quite old, as you know. Your monthly carry on this is roughly $120,000 per month. Okay, so that was 1704. The first two units off the main elevator bank is where you're going to get most of the Central Park views. And these are the original hallways of the hotel. You have your service entrance here for guests and staff. And this is the second entrance to the corner unit. And this is 1711. Which is going to be the southernmost facing unit. And these exposures are overlooking Madison Avenue. Obviously, you'd want to take all this out and customize it to your liking, but you have Fifth Avenue exposure as well. And then right off the entryway, you'll have your kitchen. So remember, it's 4 separate units, so you're going to have 4 separate kitchens in the apartment. Again, with the idea of finding a buyer who wants to completely gut the entire thing to build a full-floor mansion in the sky, so to speak. It's funny how back in the day, they used to put rugs in the bathrooms. Here's another one of the bedrooms now. Again, with Fifth Avenue exposures. You have your walk-in closet. down here, and another one of your bathrooms. So this is just to give you a sense of the layout of the apartment, to combine each unit to really do whatever you want. I would open up the floor plans a lot more, in which case you could do that by looking at the floor plans that I'll put up that coincide with the listing description. And you could open this up to get a lot more frontage. Here you have, this would probably act as a library or an office. One more look at the main living room. It's almost like each unit that we're going through, we're jumping through another era in time, from the 70s to the 80s. Some of the stuff hasn't been touched since the, 1940s. One more look down the hallway. And then we'll end in this unit, which is at the complete opposite side. The walk through the living room and your kitchen. Now, a little bit about the Sherry Netherland Hotel. You have the hotel component on the lower floors, and then you have the residences on the upper floors, which it is a co-op. And the individual hotel rooms, if you've ever been in, are really, really charming and quite nice. And the lobby is the most stunning thing about the building, in my opinion. And again, east facing. So let me know what you think of this full floor that is available for purchase at the Sherry Netherland. Make it your own full floor penthouse. Take down all the walls, make it a total seamless flow-through apartment. Here's the powder room with all of the history of the Sherry Netherland. There's that service entrance again. So what'd you think? That was the 17th floor of the Sherry Netherland Hotel, which is now on the market for just under $20 million. Another thing I like about that apartment, or just the building itself, is just the gorgeous original lobby from the 1920s. And as an additional little historical fact for all of you, if you look at some of the artifacts and some of the original paintings inside the lobby of the Sherry Netherland, what you'll notice is that some of those things are from the original Vanderbilt mansion that was taken down just around the corner. So there's so much history to be had right here on Fifth Avenue.
Doesn't matter, man.
To complete the tour, I want to go all the way over to Madison Avenue and head up towards 590 Park Avenue so you can get a better idea of the environment and the neighborhood that surrounds that beautiful unit. I also like how, since you have that full 17th floor, you have all of the exposures that you want. You have full Central Park frontage. You can see up into the Upper East Side of Manhattan. You have sweeping views looking down Fifth Avenue. And once that scaffolding comes down, you'll even be able to see over to the east side as you look out over Madison Avenue. It's a very, very unique unit. And of course, the neighborhood is one of the most luxurious in the city, with high-end boutiques retailing from Tiffany to Balenciaga, Celine. Also, some of my favorite restaurants are in and around the neighborhood as well. We're now coming up to the corner of 59th Street and Madison. Where you're going to see the Four Seasons New York as well as 432 Park Avenue, which is yet another building on New York City's Billionaires Row. The vast majority of the boutiques and shopping on the Upper East Side are right on Madison Avenue. If you were to continue to walk all the way up Madison, you'll run into some really stunning boutiques, all high-end luxury retailing, and even some luxury new development as well. One of which being my favorite development on Madison Avenue, which is the brand new Giorgio Armani Residences. This is now the corner of East 60th Street, where we will make a left and check out the Pierre Hotel. The Pierre is also another stunning building with this very unique green top, and that is because it is a copper top of the building. And if you look closely, you can see all the way across Central Park, looking at 15 Central Park West, as well as 1 Central Park West. And how could I forget, just off to the right, you have the famous Metropolitan Club. The Metropolitan Club has the most stunning white facade, and it was founded in 1891 by prominent figures such as J.P. Morgan and Cornelius Vanderbilt. Look at how stunning those front gates are there. can see the Metropolitan Club flag here as well. I'll try to get a little bit closer so you can see that marble facade just a bit better. And as we're waiting for the traffic, you're looking up at the stunning 520 Park Avenue, which is cloaked in limestone, with the architect on that deal being the famous Robert A.M. Stern. But just look at the detail on some of the Juliet balconies here. Just the juxtaposition in architecture from Billionaires Row in the distance to the architecture around the Metropolitan Club, the Sherry Netherland, as well as the Pierre Hotel. Here we are back on Fifth Avenue. That beautiful Italian Renaissance style by McKim, Mead & White. Now, for those of you who didn't know, McKim, Mead & White are the architects that are responsible for the original Penn Station. And unfortunately, covered in scaffolding, you'll still be able to see the main front entrance of the Pierre. This is 795 Fifth Avenue. Check out this old classic Rolls-Royce. And this is the side entrance of the Pierre by the main dining room and restaurant inside the hotel. But if you guys enjoyed that video on the historical significance of the Sherry Netherland Hotel and an exclusive tour of the 17th floor at the Sherry, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, we will see you in the next one. And thank you so much for watching. Take care.